You
Yes.
babysit the kids and give them everything you know they shouldn't have, and then return them to your sister. Play the long game with this one if you want revenge.
Welcome to Bad Life, Good Advice. I'm Jen.
I'm Anya. We take listener questions and internet dilemmas.
And apply common sense to situations that do not need to be this difficult.
Jen, what are we learning about today for episode 11?
Well, first, we're going to discuss what happens when your sister steals your child's name. Then, we're going to discuss dating culture and what is acceptable and what is just lazy. And then finally, we're going to discuss what major news publications believe makes a good relationship and whether or not they're right. Because we're right, as we always are. So, do they agree with us? Let's find out. Anya, you want to start the first question?
You know I do. My dilemma consists of two sisters, younger sister and older sister. So the older sister is 8 months pregnant with a baby girl. She and her husband already have a boy. The first time around that she was pregnant with the boy, the two sisters and their dad were just sitting around the dad's house and discussing baby names. The dad came up with a wonderful little girl name, and the younger sister loved it. At the time, the older sister didn't seem that interested in the name, though, because she was having a boy. Now, this time around with the girl, the older sister decided to use that name that the dad came up with. However, the younger sister is pretty ticked because she has said many times to her older sister slash whoever will listen that she wants that girl name for her future daughter. Now, the older sister's argument is that she is not close to getting married, doesn't have a partner, is much younger, has no kids, and that she is the current one pregnant with the girl. So if she wants to use a name, which she does, then she should use it. The younger sister also noted that her older sister is avoiding her, won't take her phone calls or texts, and she's pretty sure that the baby name is stolen. Should she be mad at her sister for being the name thief?
Yeah, I think she has every right to be angry. Here's the interesting thing to me. When I was a child, a very young child, we're talking 4,
Hmm.
I found a name I liked, and that is my daughter's name.
Hmm.
So I knew for 20 plus years what I wanted to name my child if I ever had a girl. That's not 2 years. That's not something somebody mentioned one time. So I don't give it as much weight as something like that. And there's no meaning to it other than somebody said it and you thought it was a cool name. So you have the right to be angry, but I feel like you might be getting a little too worked up over it. However, if your sister knows that it's causing a problem and she's going through with it anyway, I have to think that maybe she wants to cause a problem because then she's avoiding you. Like she's going to ruin your relationship over some name. If my sister told me that she wouldn't talk to me or she'd be really mad at me if I picked a particular name, I might do it anyway just because I was mad at her. But I would go in knowing that we wouldn't have the same relationship afterwards. You can't name somebody something and then take it back. I don't know. This seems like a big fight over something that you think sounds pretty, right?
Hmm.
So I think you have a right to be angry, but I do think that it's getting blown out of proportion.
My whole thought, which I initially wanted to say, was the dad that came up with this name originally. So I could see more if it was like you, where it's like you came up with this name and you wanted to use it your whole life. But technically, the dad said it and she just liked it. I think there is a little bit to the point of that it is her younger sister. She's nowhere close to being married or having a kid. And who knows? Maybe her younger sister won't even have a girl. Maybe her younger sister will only have boys. I don't know. I truly think though that when this little child is born, that she's gonna fall in love with the kid and just be happy that the kid exists and that the kid has a name. And to that note, maybe the child will arrive and they'll have the name in their head and they'll think at the last minute they'll go, she doesn't look like this name. She looks like this other name. And then your sister will surprise you.
You know what else? If you've been claiming this name for the 2 years and then your sister goes ahead and names your niece this name, you get to claim that you named your niece. I mean, your dad may have said the name, but you're the one that pushed it. And so now you get to claim that you're the aunt who named her. And you get to lord that over your big sister for the rest of her life. Because you're right, you see that niece or that nephew, and it's a different kind of love, but it is all encompassing. Nobody really talks about that. Being an aunt, I suppose being an uncle too, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. That being said, though, there's got to be another name you would like for your kid, right? Are you going to be so stuck on one name?
I specifically picked my name because I didn't think anybody else would use it. And it's not super popular, but one of her best friends has the same name. And I think that's why they're such good friends at first. They're like, oh my gosh, we have the same name. And obviously her mom has good taste, right? But here's the thing. You don't know necessarily what your last name's going to be. So you might not even want to use that name because some first names don't go well with last names.
That's a really good point, though, which is something I didn't even think of. But if you do get married and take your spouse's last name, that could throw this name right out the window.
Yeah.
I just think that you're overreacting just a little bit. And honestly, I hate to say it, but you could tell your sister, hey, don't use this name. But at the end of the day, it's her baby, so she might just use it anyway. And what are you going to do about it?
It's true. You can not talk to your sister ever again, not hang out with your niece and nephew ever again, or you can just be mad at her and, I don't know, get back at her somehow, make dinner for her, make something she really hates, babysit the kids, give them a bunch of sugar. I mean,
Actually, that's how you get back at them. You
yes,
babysit the kids and give them everything you know they shouldn't have, and then return them to your sister. Play the long game with this one if you want revenge.
right. Listen, toddlers, most people take their juice and they cut it with water. So if you give a toddler straight fruit juice, it tastes better. And those diapers for the next 24 hours are nasty.
That is our advice is we think that you're gonna really like your niece. You probably won't care after a while, but also play the long game. If
Do
you
it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, because you're still siblings. That's our advice.
So shall we get into your dilemma?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a woman who's in her mid 30s and she's just gotten out of a long-term relationship, but she is looking for a life partner. She's looking for a husband. And so she has been on the dating apps trying to meet different people. She said that she's been using Tinder. And for 3 dates in a row with men that she's matched with, they have suggested going on walks for their first date. No coffee, no drinks, just a walk. She feels like it's a very low effort thing and she just wants to unmatch with these people and not proceed dating them. She wants to know if she's overreacting. Is this a normal thing? Or are these men in particular just lazy and she should move on? What do you think?
Personally, my partner and I, we go on a lot of walks. We like to go hiking. Not that that's every date we go on, but I think it's fine. And I actually think one of either our first or second date was actually a walk in a park. I think if you're actually interested in someone and they do want to go walking with you and it's in like a safe place, like I would say like a public place with other people around, like don't meet him, in the middle of the woods where Bigfoot lives or somewhere like that, because that's probably a bad life choice.
We have good advice. No scary woods.
I don't think it's so bad if it's like the first or second date. However, if you like him and it's like if he keeps saying let's go on walks and it's like the second, third, or fourth date and there's no dinner or movies or anything that builds upon that, then you might want to think that might be a red flag.
I agree. If there's a pattern of him spending absolutely no time or money or effort on you, then that is a bad relationship and you should run. Just run. But I don't know if I would get particularly worked up about somebody I barely know wanting to just get together and talk. I don't know how much talking goes on in Tinder specifically versus other apps. I know some apps people like message each other for a while and then like they'll call each other and then they'll set up a date. My understanding is Tinder is more like short term, one night kind of escapades. So maybe you are on the wrong app. That is possible. Also, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty low maintenance person. So I'm more interested in who you are than watching you try to show off. And some guys just aren't really good at planning stuff. And it's not that they don't care, but they're going to show they care in different ways. But of course, that has to match what you need and what you want. So I wouldn't necessarily throw this out just because I wouldn't throw somebody out and unmatch them just because their first date was a walk.
I have actually known a couple couples that have gotten married off of Tinder. So, it's not to say that Tinder doesn't work. That being said, there are other apps out there. So maybe you could just try to broaden your spectrum of apps. You never know. Some men are just not so great at planning dates. But that's not to say that he's not a bad guy. Maybe he just needs some help or ideas from you for future dates.
Yeah, that's a green flag. If you give him some recommendations and he takes them and you work together, that bodes well for your relationship. I have also heard that with these dating apps, the numbers are just so insane. There are just so many people that you can match with that a woman will just post her profile and she'll just get like dozens of men that say, hey. But these men say, hey, to every woman they think is pretty. But then the woman's only picking, the cutest guy. And so they're getting rejected more and they're reaching out more. So at some point, they're just trying less because really attractive, really rich men that happen to be on these sites are able to date all the women. Statistically, you might not feel it in actuality. So they might just be disheartened and not actually want to put in that much effort into somebody that they don't know, which is kind of sad. But I understand it. And maybe they just want to go low effort on the first date because, well, you could be catfishing them. We've had that discussion before. Or you could be just lying on your profile. And also, sometimes it's really hard to know what it is you want. So you can say, I really want somebody who makes me laugh. Okay, what does that mean? Do you want somebody who's a stand up comedian? Or do you want somebody who's always deadpan in ridiculous situations? Does that crack you up? So it might be low effort, but I like Anya's point best. It can't be a pattern.
That is a very valid point, though, of just the sheer number and volume of everybody being on these apps. If you two did like each other after that walk, that he would invite you out to coffee or the next date or a restaurant. I mean, I always think walking in the park is kind of nice, but I
Mhm.
mean, at least it shows that he's into exercise.
Dating is
Yeah,
awkward
it is awkward.
because you're basically sitting down with somebody you barely know. Do you want to spend the rest of your life with me and have children with me? You know what I mean? Even if you don't want to have kids, like there's still like that like forever kind of pressure. And you're like, I don't even know you.
Usually, the ultimate goal of dating is to try to find someone you like long term. So,
And that's what her goal is. She said she
mhm,
didn't want to just hang out with people. She
yeah.
wanted one long-term partner forever. I wouldn't throw people away just because they wanted to go on a walking date for the first date. But if that's something that you can't stand, then maybe you date a couple guys. When you get to guy 20 and he takes you out to a nice dinner, you're like, this is my guy. He just gets me. And
Yeah.
that's okay too.
Mhm.
What she didn't say though was that she went on these dates and these guys are so amazing, but she just can't get past the walking.
Right.
All she had to say was, why are we walking? So I don't think
Mhm.
that these were great guys anyway. I think that if you met the guy and had a really great conversation, it would be a little different.
And I mean, if you don't like these walking dates with these guys, be picky. Like, don't continue to see them because they exist.
So that's our advice.
And now for our segment of things that apply to your life, even if you don't know that they apply to your life, but they should apply to your life. This is an article from Time Magazine, and it's basically about arguments and how you're handling yourself. And there are 8 bullet points of basically if you're the one who might be in the wrong for the argument. So the first point is when you're arguing with someone, if you tend to use the words always and never. The second one is if you attack who they are, but not the specific thing of what they did. So it's like the identity over the behavior. You're somebody who keeps score with arguments. If you notice that people are a little afraid of you or they tend to walk on eggshells around you, sometimes they might avoid certain topics of discussion with you. Are you somebody that has constant drama in your life? Now, it did note that people go through rough patches, but if there's constant drama around you all the time, then maybe you are in fact a problem. Number six was you hold yourself to a different standard. For example, you're allowed to raise your voice, but then if the person you're arguing with raises their voice back to you, then that's the problem. And on top of that, your anger outlasts your clarity. And then the last one was you're on the defense. So, which kind of ties into the seventh one. You're always on guard and you refuse to hear both sides. So, that article was basically eight general signs that you are the problem when you argue. And don't get me wrong, everyone has had their fair share of arguments. But I suppose there's something to be said with arguing better or arguing worse. How do you like to argue?
I like to win. So I use all eight of these all of the time and it's effective. No, I'm kidding. These are all actually really good things to not do. Yeah, everybody I think has done every single one of these, but you probably have a couple favorites. I once heard somebody say that it's okay to argue, it's not okay to fight. And I think that makes sense because, especially if you're in a position where you have to negotiate with somebody, whether it's your spouse or your parent, you're going to argue, and that's okay. But the fighting is when it gets bad, right? So if you're keeping score, that's the worst thing I think you can do in a relationship. That's not something severe, right? Like abuse or something. But keeping score is a really great way to just slowly ruin your any relationship you have. I try not to do it so much anymore because it doesn't accomplish anything. How many times have you seen something and you're like, well, I want you to take out the garbage. Well, I was busy, but you never take out the garbage. Okay, now I'm keeping score because A, you've never done it, and B, I've just used never. Those never are true.
I was gonna say I have been guilty of saying like never this, never that, when generally it's not necessarily true. It's just I'm mad in that one instance that the garbage wasn't taken out, but weeks prior, the garbage has been taken out or whatever it is.
Yep.
That is something I could probably work on myself. I don't really enjoy arguing, but if I am pinned in the corner, I will try to win the argument. But it's generally if it's only in like a work situation, because then I'm more mad. I get more mad at work sometimes. But if like some bozo or coworker is gonna talk to me or tell me what to do, then I'm a little strategic about it though sometimes. Like there was this one example, but Lady and I we did the exact same job. We counted money every single day. It had to be exact to the penny. And then a couple times she came into my office and accused me of being wrong. And at first, I am really good at seeing other people's point of views. I've gotten better at that over the time. So at first I believed her, but then it kept happening so many times over and over. And it was always my fault that I was like, wait a minute, this cannot always be my fault. So then after a certain time frame, I literally started taking meticulous notes. I printed out all of these things. I did photocopies, I did scans, and then kept track of each day that was mine versus hers. So then I had like this big binder. And then the next time she came in my office and accused me, I pulled out my binder. I showed her the exact day she was talking about, and I was like, that was actually your day. And then she did it again. And then it got to the point where she accused me of something else, and I was like, actually, it was your day, but because I have these notes, I know the exact problem where it went wrong on your day. And I just went ham on her. I'm pretty chill and relaxed. So if I get to that point where I'm mad at you, then I'm gonna win. But you put me in that position.
It's one of the things I respect most about you, honestly.
Really? So nice.
I think that the one that I fall into the most is number seven. Your anger outlasts your clarity.
Okay.
Because I'll get mad about something and I will just stay mad. And I'm at the point now in my old age where I'm fully aware that still being mad about the thing is ridiculous and I don't care. I'm
Oh,
still mad. And I'll say that too. I'll say that, especially to my husband. I'll be like, I know that we should be over this and it's not that big of a deal, but I'm still mad at you. Leave me alone.
I'm more mad in short bursts. Where you know that thing like you see red? Like
Hmm.
I have seen red before.
Really?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Once it's resolved, then I'm over it.
Oh, I dwell
I don't
forever.
hold on to stuff. But in that moment, I'll be mad at you. So and then I know this about me. So that's why I usually take a couple days to calm down. Usually I will calm down and get over it. But if it's like that lady at work with the work situation, then I'll get strategic and pretend to be calm. I'm either like, see mad, get over it, or be mad and then win, but calmly win.
I yeah, I think I'm the opposite. If I have time to think about something, I'm going to work myself up and get more and more angry. So I need to be left alone and do something completely different. But if I'm just thinking about it and dwelling on it, it gets so much worse. And then I act like it's 10 times worse than it was, and I blow up.
I've noticed that sometimes I do have to step away, or like if I go for a walk or exercise, then I won't be mad. But like if I'm mad and then I'm on the treadmill, I'll be mad that whole time I'm on the treadmill. But it does help me because then like a half an hour later or whatever, I won't be as mad.
Loud, angry music and treadmills slash ellipticals, that's the best way to handle it.
It's helpful, yeah.
It's a good workout too.
But that being said, I don't usually get that mad. Like usually if I'm mad, I have a pretty good reason. At least I think it's a good reason.
Fair enough. So what do we think about these 8 points? Do we think that they're good?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're good to sort of be aware and to be mindful. I definitely think that it helps to try to have clarity and see both sides, and then also to be aware of if you're the constant drama and the drama is always around you, then maybe to think, huh, I could be a little bit of the problem in how I'm reacting to people or things.
I have a life saying that if you have an excuse for everything that happens to you, why do you need so many excuses? You know those people? Because there are people who there's always drama around them, but somehow
Yep.
it's never their fault. At some point, when I've heard your 20th good story, it's you. Not one of your stories makes me think that it's you, but I see the pattern, it's you. But you can't tell those people that unless you're very close with them because they
Yeah,
have their
that's true.
stories, they have their excuses. And I think even in this article, it said that these people they might like the drama subconsciously for like it fills some sort of need,
Mhm.
either for attention or connection. Guys, there's better ways. Maybe not Tinder, but there are better ways.
And then I think too, like walking around eggshells around people. I mean, that probably applies to everybody, but I think it depends if it's just like one or two topics to avoid talking about, or maybe the person just always argues with you. Maybe you shouldn't be with that friend. Like if you tell that person the sky is blue and then they get mad at you for saying the sky is green and obviously it's blue, but they're just that argumentative of a person, maybe you should have a little bit of boundaries with them. I don't,
You have to one up those people.
you do?
Yes.
Oh,
Let's role play, okay? Ready? Somebody says the sky is blue, but you're the crazy person. What do you say?
sky is purple.
You believe in the sky?
If it's like some way you can put some type of boundary around it, or even a little bit of a boundary, that might help.
I notice that there are some people that if they're doing something wrong, and they know that they're doing it wrong, but they don't think it's a big deal or they don't care, and you say, hey, that's wrong, it's just gonna be a fight. But if you laugh at them, they will change their behavior.
I actually kind of like that laughing point because sometimes if you point out, kind of made a joke about the situation, but also highlighted what that person was doing wrong, if everybody's kind of like laughing about it, but then there's a little bit of meaning behind the laugh. So that was kind of a roundabout way to solve the problem, but also make it lighter hearted than a screaming match.
I love that this article is how do you know you're the problem in an argument? And our response is, guys, here's some tips on how to win arguments. Are we the problem?
Maybe we are the
Oh
problem,
no.
everybody.
Oh no. I guess let us know in the comments if we're the problem. Or are we the solution? So we're the problem. And don't come to us for advice in avoiding conflict, but you can come to us for advice to finish it.
So, how do you think that this article could apply to some of the situations we had today? I think maybe with the first one, with the stealing of the baby name, I think she kind of said that in her view that she always wanted this name and was saying it was always her name. But sort of the reality was the dad just came up with the name and she is kind of only seeing her point of view. And she may change her mind when she sees that baby.
I think for the second one, maybe number 8 could apply. You're always on the defense and you refuse to hear other people's points of view.
Okay.
She didn't say why any of those men wanted to go on walking dates.
Hmm.
So maybe they have a good reason for it.
Yeah.
Maybe they really love walking dates. Maybe they really love to walk and to hike. And if you're not interested in walking, then they know that it's time to move on.
Maybe you should just ask why they want to go walking.
Yep, be curious.
So I think what did we learn today? That we both like to argue?
We do. Well, we don't like to argue. We like to win arguments. So I think what ties these things together is sometimes everyone is the problem. You and your sister were both fighting over this baby name. You're both being pretty silly about it. I'm going to be honest. You are both kind of the problem. For the second dilemma, if you're not taking the men's point of view into consideration or even asking them, then that's not necessarily fair to them. They might have a valid reason for wanting to go on a walking date. What do you think?
I think you should just kind of determine who is the problem. Is it you? Is it them? Maybe try to be a little more mindful of what you're saying when you are arguing or who you are arguing with.
And remember why you're arguing. Are you trying to win some fight or are you trying to come to an agreement? And I think that wraps up this episode. If you have any questions or comments for us, you can email us at badlifegoodadvice@gmail.com. And then there's the Bad Life Good Advice TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. If you don't follow us on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, etc. And also, I have Bad Life Good Advice Jen on Instagram. And until then, guys, my baddies, we need a better name for you guys. Have a good life.
If you have a better name for you, message us. We might use it. We are not therapists. We're not doctors. We're not lawyers.
We're not dating gurus.
We're not financial advisors. We're not babysitters.
We don't deliver babies.
We're not the inventor of Tinder.
I've never invented any apps, actually.
Neither have I.
Yeah, we're pretty chill.
Unless we're arguing or trying to win an argument.
We will win it, by the way, so don't even start.
Don't even try.
We're just a couple of friends who think that life doesn't need to be this difficult. See point number 5, we're pretty good at avoiding drama. We like to talk about other people's drama because we don't have any of our own because we're so chill. So if you want to avoid drama, hang out with us. But other than that, if you need a professional, seek out a professional.
And until then, have a good life.